In the last video, you learned how to set the objective for your Facebook ad campaign, and we did that at the top at the campaign level up here. In this video, we're going to move down into the next level of the campaign, which is the ad set, which is where you determine your budget, your schedule, the location you want to show your ads in, your audience, so who you want to target, the placement of your ads as well, so where you'd like your ads to show, along with the optimization and the delivery. So this video in particular is going to be the video where we focus on the budget and the schedule, which is this option right here. So what I will do is break down all of these videos into smaller digestible ones, so it's easier to take in all the information instead of me just making one long video, which I can appreciate can be very overwhelming at times. So before we start to mess around with all these different options right here, one thing which you really want to pay attention to is this fuel gauge right here on the right hand side under audience definition. I actually recommend that you even write down this number right here, which is 45 million people. So this is my potential reach. So this is essentially the maximum amount of people my ad is going to reach based on the targeting options that I already have selected. Now at the moment, Facebook tells me my audience selection is fairly broad. So what we want to do is narrow it down to make it more specific to get it to a smaller audience size. The smaller our audience size is, the more targeted our ads are going to be, aka our ads are actually going to show to people who actually care about them and are more likely to click through, download our app, or whatever the marketing objective is. If we do this correct, then we're going to get a lot better results and a lot more mileage out of our ad campaign, and we're also going to minimize wasted ad spend. If you end up showing your ads to a really broad audience, then 9 times out of 10, it's not going to perform that well. So before we start to define who we're going to target, it's always a good idea just to write down this number, which is 45 million. And then as we go through and add more detailed targeting, this number will come down section by section. So the first option we have when you come to the ad set level is going to be to enter in a name for your ad set. Now, when it comes to choosing a name for your ad set, one of the best things you could actually do is give your ad set a name which identifies who you're targeting. Now remember, at the ad set level, this is where you determine who you're going to target, such as the location of your ads, the age, the gender, and so on and so on. So it's a really good idea to give your ad set a name which describes who you're targeting. However, in this instance, as we don't actually know who we're going to target yet, as all those options are down here below, I always like to come to the ad set last when we get to the bottom of all of this information, which we currently have on this page. So I know it sounds counterintuitive, but leave the ad set name how it is at the moment, which is new ad set, and let's go through the next sections. So the section below the ad set name is going to be the traffic. So choose where you want to drive traffic. You enter more details about the destination later. Of course, I would like to send the traffic to my website, which is where I'm going to be promoting my ebook. So there's nothing to do for this section whatsoever. Below that, we have 2 boxes, one for dynamic creative and we have another one for offer. So a dynamic creative is basically where Facebook will show a different combination of your ad based on the same elements and see which one performs the best. Now this is quite similar to split A/B testing. However, I've always found split A/B testing to be a lot more accurate and a lot more informative, as it requires a lot less research on my end, as I know exactly what I'm testing in my A variation in comparison to my B variation. So I actually recommend that you leave dynamic creative off, so leave it how it is at the moment. Now, offer is simply where you get the chance to add an offer to people who are going to see your ad. They could then use that offer, so the offer could be a discount code to use on your website. However, as my ebook is free, this isn't actually applicable to me, so I will go past that option. And this is where I really want to focus on in this video, which is all about the budget and the schedule. So by default, Facebook's going to show you a budget of £20 or $20 if you're based in the United States, for example. It's all going to be based on your local currency. You can, of course, go into your daily budget and edit it to suit. So at the moment, Facebook is telling me with a daily budget of £20, my ad is going to reach roughly 5.6 thousand people to 16,000 people every single day. That will result in 94 to 273 clicks. So if I go ahead and lower my budget to maybe £5, that will obviously have an impact on my reach and how many clicks my ad is going to generate. So do bear that in mind and take that into consideration when you're determining your daily budget. One important thing to highlight as well is that there will be a minimum daily budget you have to specify. Now, the daily budget you have to specify is going to be determined by the campaign objective you select. For example, I've gone for the campaign objective as traffic to generate traffic to my website. So if I go into this budget and enter in maybe 10 pence, for example, you can see it says your budget must be at least 75p or your ads may not be delivered. Please increase your budget for this ad set. And on the right hand side, you can see it says your ad may get 0 link clicks. So what I'm going to do is go back up to here and I'll put in a daily budget of £5. Now below your budget, you're going to have your schedule. So this is this option right here. So by default, your ad will be set to run from today and they'll be set to run continuously forever until you pause them. However, we can very easily edit the schedule to ensure that they are not running 7 days a week, 24/7. You definitely want to give this some thought. Personally, I like my ads to run during weekdays as people are more likely to take those click-throughs. They're going to be in work, maybe more serious about taking the action rather than just browsing on the weekend. So what I'm going to do is simply click my start date and I'll go for a weekday. I'll start mine next week on Monday the 11th. And then I'm going to click this box right here, set an end date. That will now open another box where I can end my ads on the following week on the 18th, or I could choose to run mine just up to Friday, which I'm going to do. So the 15th, so they're going to start on the 11th and they're going to finish on the 15th. So my ads are going to run for 5 days in total. Now, another thing which you want to pay attention to is the time your ads are going to start and finish. So at present, my ad is going to start at 9 AM, which is absolutely fine. However, my ads are set to finish at midnight on Friday. I most likely want to change that to the time where people finish work. As remember, my whole philosophy is based on running ads when people are in the working environment. So most people finish work in the United Kingdom at 5 PM. So I'll go ahead and enter 1700 like so. So the last option we have under budget and schedule is going to be under show more options, although this isn't really applicable to us. It's basically to do with your ads scheduling. So at the moment it's saying run ads all the time. However, this isn't really relevant to us. And we've just gone ahead and created a schedule for this campaign. And you can't actually edit this schedule unless you change your budget at the top from daily budget actually to lifetime budget, which I actually don't recommend. I recommend you always go for a daily budget. So essentially you don't actually need to see this option, but of course I just want to show you everything in this course to make sure I'm not leaving out anything. So that is it for budget and schedule. So once you're happy with your configuration, it's time to move on to the next part, which is all to do with your audience, which I'm going to cover in the next video. So I'll see you there.